Can you guys hear me? Seems like something's up with my microphone and my something was up. So let's just see if this is better. Can you guys actually hear me? Sound okay? Let's see. We turn my webcam back on. Oh. Alright, let me know if this is okay for you guys. I don't know what's going on, but it was killing my system. There we go. That feels a little better. I know it's just a little difference, but I think it makes a big difference in the long run, right? I gotta bring that stem up a little bit. Let's give the other side a little more volume too, because this had this going on. Let's turn off symmetry. Integrating this stuff up here. So the one thing we can do too. Hey honey. Hey, how's it going, future? Let's do a little key shot test, or actually first let's save. Always save at least every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, just in case. Let's launch some key shot. See what that's looking like. If we need to simplify or remove some of these bumpy surfaces. Alright. So let's send it off to Keyshot. See what that's looking like. Yep. External render. Oh. Not hating it. So far it looks okay. Let's find a nice material for this. Actually, one of the ZBrush materials might be fine. It's not too bad. What do you guys think? I usually paint all this stuff in Substance Painter, so I think that's where I would probably paint it if I were going to do anything. But we'll see. I'm trying to do it for a print, and then from there maybe airbrush it and that type of stuff. Let's see what this looks like with some other environments, maybe some exteriors. Okay, it's fine. I think it's starting to read okay. I think we can start adding some more breakup for the secondary forms. and some of the details that the pumpkins really have, like a little bit of noise and a little bit of more of those striations. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's not too bad, right? And we have to work on that stem, add more details to that, so there's a contrast between this big surface, like all this stuff here, and what's happening with the stem and the details. So I think we have to push those brows a little more forward. Let's see, let's try one more environment. Yeah, teeth are reading pretty good. I think it's okay. What do you guys think? Yeah, right. Having it in the kitchen would be creepy. But just imagine if you were to 3D print these like pretty big, or you could print them small, right? I'm thinking it's printing it small for my desk, but if you were to print these for outdoors on like a PLA printer, it could be pretty cool. Then you have unique stuff and you could paint them, like really cool paint jobs. So I don't know, it should be nice. But yeah, let's go back to sculpting. I think it's looking all right. So let's maybe start putting, let's look at a real pumpkin just to make sure we're not deviating too much from it. Let me just bring up one in my browser. But yeah, you guys can grab that free pumpkin on my Gumroad. You guys can start making your own. I'll post a link on here too. And if you do make something, feel free to post me with this hashtag. That way I know, and I could post it on here, post it on Instagram whenever you guys make something. Yeah, so we're just probably going to go and emphasize some of these little details so that it has secondary breakup, like some of these lines, and then a little bit of these smaller lines. So we start, giving it more texture, and then we could add more, some of these guys got pretty, let's see, this is still, we'll just do each side individually. We don't need to do it symmetrically. I kind of remove some of these artifacts of where we were sketching. And one thing I like doing is doing this with a harsher brush, smooth brush. And I kind of start blending that surface of the sketch to this. Yeah, it's much easier to start with that because last Halloween I did the same thing. I did a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern, and I spent like, a little bit of time in the stream kind of just creating it and doing all that when we can just be having fun and doing more sculpting, at least in my opinion. And you guys can get started too, why not? Don't have to think about trying to make a pumpkin. You guys could probably just modify the shape, make a taller one, a shorter one, something different. Oh, talk about hiccups today. Not sure what it is. I updated a whole bunch of different things, so it could be a graphics driver, it could be the app, it could be other apps running. So if you guys see any hiccups, it's probably that. We'll be adding some imperfections like this, like little growths, but we want to do the controlled, not just have it, just there because it's noise, because we sculpted something that's very sketchy. Just trying to smooth some of this stuff out, Sometimes some of this stuff becomes, especially like this, Start blending some of these guys out. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Let's continue on. Before we continue, save. That when we do crash, we have this and we can start back up. Cool. So like I was saying, we're just kind of removing some of these things that maybe became a little bit of noise and need to be blended a little nicer, or get rid of that sketch look. And we could start adding a little bit more kind of fatty deposits and that type of stuff. So you see, this shader helps me see a lot of that stuff that I'm kind of talking about. And I think it's important to kind of fix some of these primary shapes, because I think a lot of people don't. And then you wonder why everything looks so noisy and doesn't make sense. And I think that's a really important part of design and as you're working. Hey, how's it going, Elton? Thanks for joining. So we're just cleaning up a little bit, you know. It looked pretty okay on the our little test render, but now we're gonna just clean up a little bit, refine. Now that we're at a good spot, this is about probably 40 minutes in, 30 minutes in, somewhere in that range. And also give some of these teeth volume, because you see some they're supposed to be misshapen. It's a pumpkin, right? But hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining. But we're gonna make them a little more right. And also, not every cut needs to be the same amount of depth, you know. So you want to add some variation to that, so that it doesn't feel just like you'd use damn standard to cut all this stuff. We did, but we're going to break that up. And I think that's a big difference between sometimes a professional or an amateur, where you just kind of leave it as is. And I could notice it, and I know that if you spend another 5 minutes just cleaning that up, that's going to make your stuff read much nicer. Sometimes when I see a lot of these sculpts, they become very noisy because people don't bother cleaning some of this stuff up. Just kind of leave it as is. We're going to go back in here and refine some of these shapes, but right now we're doing a little bit of a clean pass. But that's why I have all these shaders here, because sometimes there's things that read pretty well on one shader but don't read on another. This one's pretty nice because you see it tells me that I didn't blend this in correctly. Like, it's, you know. Yeah, that goblin madcap is fucking amazing, right? Sorry for the cussing, but yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorite ones in the last month or whatever when I started using it. It's pretty amazing. There goes that hiccup again. Not sure what's going on with these little hiccups we're having. But it really helps me see where I'm blending or not blending things in correctly. This one's a little lighter. It's also kind of creepy. It's a cool little cavity map. But yeah, I like to check with the different matte caps, because sometimes you could see some shapes that become kind of unmotivated or not really supposed to be there. But that's why we're doing this now, so that when we do some renders, everything just reads much nicer. Let's fix some of those teeth. Let's get them a little more rounded. Then we can add a little more detail. Yeah, one thing I like giving them too is like highlights on certain sections and smoothing those so that they don't feel like they're like the same tooth. It just pick up a little highlight like they're turning a little different direction. Let's see. And also a little bit of polish helps. And we also have to make sure we separate them out. Push those cavities in a little bit more. How you guys enjoying the stream so far? Ridge a little more. Oh yeah, those materials are pretty helpful. I like using them a lot. They're pretty good for free to download and try them out. You know, extract them out if you guys don't like the rest of the stuff. But to figure out what's going on with Dynamesh, because for some reason it's not cooperating today. Let's see. Well, first of all, before we do that, you always want to duplicate, right? And hide everything else. Yeah, because we're only at 2 million, so I'm not sure why it's complaining, but it happens. So not a big deal. It's always workarounds. Oh, I chose to keep them there because I'm going to 3D print it. If I was going to make this more of a production model or something else that I was wanted to open the mouth and do other things, I would definitely keep it separate. And also keep like the hollow, like make a mouth pocket and all that. But since we're kind of not doing that, we're keeping them all together. I started with something where they had that, but then I just went with it. You know, that something just happens. Let's see. ZBrush needs to be cooperating. Needs to be doing its thing. Cool. So now that we have a nice clean ZBrush, let's make sure we close holes just in case there's anything. And then we can project project the details from one to the other, but let's turn off the stem. So divide once, project, one more time, project. Yeah, no problem. It's just because it's still going to be 3D printed. If not, then I would definitely not be working like this. We're going to do one more, and then we'll continue detailing. Since we kind of got the design kind of locked down, now the rest is more just adding detail. It's not like we're changing structures completely, so it's a good time to do that, which was about an hour in. Then we can play around with adding different stems, or maybe adding like a collar or some kind of flower element, like the leaves, that type of stuff. Or you can even add a whole body, make them like a, you know, Pumpkin King. This one's taking a little longer because it went to 9 million, so it'll just take a second. There we go. So now that we got that, we can turn the other one off, and we can play with layers. That's one thing I like playing with. So we can make a layer at the highest level, go down to like this level, which is level 4, at about 500k. Now we can start adding some of those other details we were just talking about. You know, just adding some of this stuff, and it's a little steppy, but when we add one more level of subdivision, then we could kind of fine tune it. So that's why I like doing this slow. On purpose, I'm not keeping them symmetrical because we already kind of broke symmetry, and some of this stuff will look cooler if it's not symmetrical. I'm going all the way to the bottom, even though we might cut the bottom off at the printing and just have it be flat, but it is all still primary form, so we're not going anything crazy, you know. Here's where we can start deviating some of these lines. Start breaking up the front a little bit. Hopefully this stuff makes sense. Well, let's see where that stem is at. So we started with a different stem. You know, we had a stem like you guys have, and all I did was just kind of play around with the shapes, twisted it up a little bit so it doesn't look so perfect. Yeah, so I tend to always turn everything off, only the things I want to project, because sometimes if you have the stem in there, it'll start projecting that on there too. So it's always a good idea to just project one-to-one. And you know, it's easy to just turn off everything else. So now we got those guys going. There's a little bit more. And make sure your strokes are not all perfectly, you know. We're gonna do that masking trick and then give them a little bit more imperfections, but we could do that in the next level up. So let's go up to level 5, since now they become smoother and they're no longer like jaggedy. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is that a lot of these lines, sometimes they're not perfectly all the way. So what we're gonna do is add a little more depth to them, but not, I guess, let me show you guys how we'll do it. So let's see. So go to masking, right? Mask by cavity. Maybe smooth that once. Invert it. So now that we have all those little cavities, now we can go back in here and kind of push some of them more, so that, yeah, but they will be visible in the print. So that's the reason I'm doing them, or else there's no point. So now that we have that, I'm going here and kind of break them up a little bit so they're not all perfect. You know, they have different growths too, so it's okay. So sometimes it's okay to have this mask on. I tend to turn it off a little bit once I know kind of where they're at. There's a couple ways you could do this, or you could also do the inflate. And this would give me a pattern where it doesn't feel like it's just a straight line, like you just drew it with a pencil. Or you just carved it out literally with like one type of knife. Like this gives it a little more organic feeling. At least in my opinion. Some people don't think so, some people do. So it's up to you what you'd like your... And there's also peaks and valleys. So this one's nice too. So with this one, you could, I usually do inflate as well. And then we'll add a level of noise on top of all this too. So there'll be more breakup. This is just kind of like the primary breakup, so it looks all at the same level, you know. More hiccups, that's awesome. So let's work on that stem, because we haven't really touched that guy. This guy, let's see, the stems seem to be pretty deep, so those guys we can go deeper on. Kind of following the flow a little bit and breaking up some of these lines. Yeah, mutant pumpkin. So I like doing one pass of this and then another pass where we kind of pull some of those ridges up. Hey, what's up, Animal? How's it going, man? Just making some little ornaments for Halloween, you know? So now we can go in the opposite. Let's say we can use Damn Standard and just hold Alt and kind of push some of these ridges out. So that way there's a variation of both in and out. Hey, how's it going, man? JF? Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been trying to start my own stream on my own channel, but I've been so busy that it's been a little hard. But soon. So hopefully you guys stay tuned and follow me. So maybe it's a good time to check this. It was a good time to save, and it's also probably a good time to check it back in KeyShot. Let's see, what do we have before? See, now those shapes read a lot better, like as opposed to they read like they have purpose. Where before they were kind of, you know, just a little more blobby. Even though we could still fix some of this stuff, like this stuff down here. I'm gonna fix right now, and maybe do a little more integration on this. We didn't push the browse out like I was talking about earlier, like this stuff here. We're gonna tweak those shapes as well. But I think it's heading in the right direction, so I'm pretty happy with it. Let's try a few more lighting scenarios. And this is just a quick check too, like it's, you know, we're doing this just to make sure everything's looking okay. Some people spend way too much time in doing this, and this is like something that should be pretty quick. You know, we're getting the right lighting. See, now we're making those sockets kind of pop. Yeah, trying to make it look sinister, man. Trying to make it look evil, you know. But let's continue sculpting. So let's tweak some of those things. And the nice thing is that we can tweak all that stuff in the lower resolutions now that we have that. So we go down here, fix some of those primary shapes. Do I still have my mask on? Yes. I was wondering, I'm like, something doesn't seem right. But see how much easier it is to tweak this stuff when it's at this low res. Yeah, I think it can be right. A little more higher, maybe. Or a little more Joker-like. Is that kind of what you're talking about, honey? So some of the things that bother me, it's like I push those things out, but they're not reading correctly to me. So I'm gonna, like, these are okay, but this one down here is like not. Because you want to feel the teeth kind of growing, right, from the bottom of or the teeth growing from the lip, or like they're being pushed out. But this is where, like, this is okay, but these weren't not that nice. Yeah, we're probably gonna maybe push one up a little bit and maybe make it more motivated. Because right now I guess it's just kind of sitting there. So we could also, you know, so here's one of the layers that we had. Some of the things we tweaked. I think it makes a big difference. And then let's make another layer. Go back to level 3. Start tweaking some of this stuff here. Yeah, see, kind of get rid of the thing. It was starting to get like straight lines, right? Start curving some of those lines. I think that helps a lot too. Push that cheek up, maybe. Start blending this more a little bit. Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. But it's good, right? You guys see it and then point it out to me. Sometimes I don't see it right away. Well, I have plans to do it, but I never did anything about it. See, we could break it up by not making this one the same arch, kind of maybe arching this one a little down. And also, one thing that I like doing as well, which is, oh, I have it negative, having this stuff kind of bunch against itself. Like, it has to be motivated, right? Like, this part of the lip, this fatty part, has to push the other part. So I think doing some of that helps a lot too. So you start getting some overlap on some of these surfaces. Same thing with the chin, right? Get that chin kind of. Let's see, so we're doing pretty good on time. Let's go back to that stem a little bit more. And then it's also blend some of these guys out, you know? Then probably pull some of those spikes out. Yeah, but hopefully I can get this guy printed before Halloween. Be nice to do a little series of these guys, right? For next year, or just have them around the year. It doesn't have to be just for Halloween. I'm constantly looking at the whole thing 360. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. This pointer. Cool name. I like all the names. They're always like pretty unique. So here I'm just trying to make sure none of them are just straight like a star. Like they're kind of like all, you know, kind of going all around. So they feel more organic. Then we'll add some more. Add some more volume to them as well. Starts to remind me more of like those mad balls like back in the 90s, 80s, 90s. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. Let's see. Oh yeah, the RAM, yeah. Let's see. Somebody just posted a link. Oh, I see, I see. Interesting. That's a cool way to go deep on the name, man. That's cool. That's really cool, actually. So I wanted a little more bridging in between these guys too. They feel a little separated. But we have to be careful that we don't add too much of the thing that I had before. We need to do it all the way around. And some of these guys lost their little edge. Kind of just help refine those guys and then go back in there and kind of give them a little bit of a highlight, and it also helps them feel more integrated into each other. Do that to all of them a little bit so that they all feel like they're But yeah, if you guys like this stuff, I guess feel free to follow me too on Instagram and other places that I post. Let's find some links for you guys. I don't think I posted any of that stuff. Also, where to get that free pumpkin mesh or ZBrush file. Let's see, my website. I always forget to post all this stuff. See. Yeah, there was some wild toys, man, in the 90s, right? That's kind of what this reminds me a little bit, just Mad Balls, like classic Mad Balls. Yeah, there was a pumpkin that I did last year that I can't find the file. I was going to print it like last week, and I just can't find the file, so I think it's gone. Who knows where it went. But we did it on the stream too, so it was cool. It's this guy here. You know, kind of took it to Substance Painter and did a little bit of a quick, like, 10-minute job on it. Here's what we did on the stream. Let's see, where is it? So this is what we did on the stream last year. A little more motivated by a bulldog, but you know, that's the kind of stuff I post on my Instagram all the time. So feel free to check it out whenever you guys have time. Yeah, but I wanted to change it up and not do the same thing, so I kind of, you know, just breaking it up. So let's add some more overall detail to this whole thing so that, you know, if we were to print it out, it wouldn't be just nice and soft. Oh, thanks, man. Tony, or 2NY. I've been messing with ZBrush for like 15, 20 years, you know, but this is kind of what I do for fun, like all this concept and 3D printing stuff. But for professional work, I've been doing it for like films and commercials, you know, but you know, sometimes we don't get to do this fun stuff. It's more like adding pores and details and all these little things that make something feel more real. So let's see what we can do to kind of start adding some more detail overall. So we have the basic brush, and let's see, we're gonna add some of these guys since there is little ridges everywhere. Let's see what this does. It's good, but we're gonna change some things. So let's see if we add a spray. Yeah, I think this will work. But of course we have to make it negative. Oh, it is Tony. Okay, cool. Sometimes some of the names are hard to read, or sometimes the way they're spelled. Just want to make sure I don't get it wrong. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you checking out my work. So I'm making these pretty large, but I'm going to tone these way, way down. I'm just kind of so we get a little more breakup, and then we can also use that trick with the masking to kind of start getting some variation on the surface, you know. Just to give it a little bit of directionality. We can also change up the pattern to have like some variation. Oh, there goes that hiccup again. I'm not sure what it is on my system today. I updated too many things. Maybe that's the problem. One of those must be a little glitchy. So we kind of want to add it everywhere. But of course, going with the direction of maybe the surface that you're trying to do. But we're going to tone this way down, remember guys. So that's why it's in the layer. So now that we have that, now we can so having this in the layer gives us the power to kind of tone it way down, like 0.5, let's say. Maybe even lower than that. You know, because it starts to get a little too noisy, but we're going to work with this. So let's see, maybe 0.25. Just so we have something that's happening there. And then we could do another layer where we maybe change the pattern, something else, but I like this one. I just need to, maybe we'll do some more by hand, like the ones we were doing earlier. Sorry guys. So we'll keep these kind of small, and we'll also do some and we'll do this pretty quickly, not spending too much time on it, but just make sure you kind of wiggle your hands when you're doing it, so it's not a, what I mean is like, you don't want it to be like a perfect cut like that. You want it to be kind of like just breakup. What's my advice? Practice every day. Every day, just do something. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and those are the mistakes you want to get out as soon as possible. Practice doing different things. Sometimes you fall, you know, you want to do one thing, but you might be really good at another. So maybe just try different things. Find out what you like doing, kind of go with that, and then try other things in between. Because all this stuff will kind of come in handy. So this is just more of a breakup layer that I'm doing kind of manually, you know. We could probably find an alpha that can help me do this, but I kind of want to just do this a little more. Kind of going with this direction of some of the details that I put in earlier. And it's also going to be dialed way down, so something to think about. Let's see. Well, those workflows are very different than what I'm doing now, right? This is more for like concept design, just getting some ideas design. Maybe you're trying to get some nice renders. That's kind of the workflow that I'm doing here for fun, where there's no pressure. You're just kind of doing it. But this kind of also could be, you could also separate this out later too, right? So you could treat it like a scan, and like once you have it all done, you could just kind of start retopologizing in Maya. I usually use Maya, so I will start using some of that to kind of just go ahead and start putting edge loops everywhere where it needs to blink, and open the mouth, make the cavity, separate each one of the gum lines, that type of stuff. But that's kind of more like what I teach in my tutoring or my mentorships, more for production, or if you're working with me, that's kind of what I cover. This is more just for fun, so I want to make sure that's I guess it's known, so that you don't think that this is the way you would do it in production, because this is definitely not the way to do it for production. This is just more for fun and for 3D printing, and for doing this stuff on the fly for fun. As you can see, I'm just kind of adding more details, more scratches, and wiggling my hand and not making one line straight. And you can also have some overlap and start doing some Y shapes and X shapes. But it's just kind of adding overall detail, and then we'll still add another layer of noise on top of this. We're gonna turn all this stuff way down, guys. So just, well, we're doing good on time. We still have time to kind of you also do a mentorship kind of to help people get into production, or if you're already in production, you have questions of how to do things. I've been doing production for many years, so I tend to help a lot of people. Just kind of, you know, whether you're doing character modeling, creature modeling, all this stuff, kind of workflows on topology, UVs, all that fun stuff. It takes forever. Hope that makes sense. So that's another layer that we're gonna tone down now. So let's do that. But we can also use all these layers to kind of do the masking trick, and then add a little more variation on top of this, you know. So let's tone this down to 0.5. I usually always turn it down to half, just to get some noise going on, you know. See how this is kind of breaking the overall, the punking up. So let's add another layer. Now we're going to start playing with the surface. But before we do that, let's just save real quick. That's one thing in production you need to do all the time. Save often, because you don't want to lose any time. You don't want to lose more than 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of your work. So here we could pick one of these noises, you know, figure out what kind of noises I guess a pumpkin kind of has overall, you know. There's a lot of different types. Obviously we don't want to add some no concrete. But it could be maybe some fleshy stuff, you know, that might be too much. That could be cool. And we could combine some of these too. So we could maybe apply this one. So let's turn the light box off, apply. You know, that adds another level of kind of noise, but see how it kind of breaks it back. It's not really projecting it's kind of just giving some weird lines. It's frozen again. That's awesome. Love how this thing freezes. Sorry for the hiccup, guys. Yeah, you could use Perlin noise too. See, this one I didn't see the side. It looks pretty ugly, so we're gonna undo that. So maybe, actually we could probably edit it. So let's go to surface, edit, and see what we can do. Let's see, there's different ways to apply it, but obviously I don't have any UVs, so maybe let's see, maybe we could add some UVs at this point. So let's turn this off. Let's go to the lowest subdivision level. UV master, it's not symmetrical. And I'm just doing the basics. I'm not even bothering trying to paint anything. If you have time, we can. I just don't. No, that's not my knife. So that knife I'm not giving away, but you can give. That's part of Pablo's Pablo Gomez's stuff. You could just buy his pack and it comes with it. You see ZBrush guidelines. So I will say go there and get it. It's just, you know, I'm trying to support people, so I'm trying not to give away their stuff. Okay, so let's try this. Now we can try UV. So let's go up to level 6. And let's go back to noise. Looks pretty good. Let's see if we can edit it to be UVs now. Let's see what that looks like. It's like the scale needs to be changed. Let's see what else. There you go, it's looking pretty good. It's giving me a seam there, but not a big deal. We're just trying to add some more breakup. And that's what this is all about, right? Like combining the different levels and knowing when to use one over the other. So let's say we apply this. We have it in the layer. Let's apply it. So surface, apply to mesh. And then we'll turn off that color. So we don't like the color. Right, so now we have some things that we probably don't like. So one thing we can do is turn that layer off because we like everything that's underneath. You can do a morph target, store morph target, go to our layers, record, use our morph brush to take away anything we don't like. So only keep the stuff we do like. And start painting away that seam. Probably where I didn't paint the stuff on there, but not a big deal. Here you could just also put another brush, something so that it doesn't feel like you're just cutting it off. Or just keep it soft, and then we could go over it with another alpha that could kind of get rid of that seam. And we're also going to add this very low, I guess, opacity. So it's not gonna make a big deal. It's not gonna be a deal breaker, right? But you see how that adds a little more visual interest, you know, and we didn't have to do it manually. So now we could go ahead and go in here. Now that we edit that edge out, and point this like 0.3, and now we're getting additional breakup, you know, that we didn't have to add by hand. It gives us just a little bit of scratches, a little bit of imperfections added to the stuff that we had. And then I want to add one more level. So let's add another layer. Let's find another noise. Let's see, what would be nice for this guy? Maybe this overall noise is pretty good. This one might be good. Sometimes you just gotta try some of these out. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't at all. This one's pretty good. I think it's between these two. I think this one is pretty nice. So we're probably gonna go with that. So let's go with that. And you know, see what that's all about. Bake it. If we don't want to change the scale, we can. Maybe not. Let's see. So these are too deep, but they could probably work. So let's try that out. So we bake this one as well. Let's bake it. Inflated the thing overall. That's fine, not a big deal. This one we're gonna do at 0.2. And we can see the difference. Maybe it's inflating our stuff too much, so that maybe I think it is. So let's maybe do 0.1. What app am I using? The ZBrush. So So see, now we're getting more natural breakup. So now it starts to feel organic. There's a little bit of dents and scratches here and there. And if you want, if there's something else like here, like this one, right? We still have a little bit of the residue from that one. We can go back here and go back to our morph target and get rid of that. Not a big deal. So it's a lot, trial and error. I guess it goes all the way down to the teeth. Not a big deal. Now if we go back, it's going to put it back to where we had it. And there we go. Now we're starting to look like we're getting somewhere. So let's go to this one. This one. This is a stem, right? Yep. So now we can add a little bit more. This guy doesn't have morph brush, but let's make one for it. Morph target. And then we could apply a noise to that guy as well. Well, actually, we should probably UV it. Let's do a quick UV. Oh, thanks, man. Just want to make sure we get a little breakup so when we print it, there's not just a nice, like, there's detail and then it's soft and it's like smooth everywhere else. And also when we paint it, those things will pick up in the cracks and all that stuff, Stay home. Yeah, creepy pumpkins out there. Yeah, I hope you guys have been, got the chance to download that pumpkin and try some stuff out, And some of these things, the nice thing is that if you have all this stuff in layers and there's something you don't like, you can just turn it way down, just turn it off. All right, let's see. We got some UVs on this guy, so let's try some surface noise just to. Sometimes just regular surface noise helps, but in this case it's too nice. So let's try that guy. Apply to mesh. Actually, no, I didn't like that guy because he inflates everything. Maybe a little more grainy. Yeah, that's pretty good. And even that we could probably tone down. Oh, I guess I didn't do it in the layer, but we could have it down the layer. Surface noise, big. Now we have it in here. So we could turn this down to like 0.5, 0.6. Now we have some more detail there that wasn't there, that we didn't have to go in there and do by hand. So now that we have this part that we didn't, we erased all that detail from, so we can make another layer. Pick a standard brush. Pick another alpha with some kind of noise pattern. So let's, this is probably okay. Make sure it's not too high. Maybe a little higher. Go fill in, kind of match it, and there you go. Look at that, it's frozen again. Awesome. Yeah, the COVID pumpkin, right? So now we have all this. Let's go check it out and see what kind of visual interest we're getting. But look at all that. All that kind of came for free with some guidance, And you didn't have to spend tons of time on it, which is great, right? Because it's ready to go. Of course, you were doing this for production, matching something. You need to. This is what we got, and I think it looks pretty good. Maybe the nose and the eyes maybe could be more hollow, but we'll see. And we're frozen again. So this is all my system. Sorry, guys. All right, let's open up KeyShot. You see this? You see how we had all this kind of broken up stuff, and then over here it's like nice and smooth, and it makes it feel very plasticky. Like it just doesn't feel right. It's fine. I like the exterior shots more. Sounds pretty good. So you see here, you could perfect demonstration of what I was talking about, right? How smooth all this stuff is. We need to break that up. So let's go to ZBrush, and let's set up. Well, first, always before you do anything, save this stuff out. And then from there, once it's saved, we can kick it off to Keyshot. And then we can play around with that. Maybe do some poly painting. I'm probably going to take it to Substance. Let's see. Let's try one more thing. I had these eyes earlier. They don't look so creepy. They don't look so bad anymore. Maybe make them, push them back a little bit more. See what they look like. Make them really small. Now the music is getting better. Only took an hour and a half. Let's turn X off. What happened to the other eye? Sorry, I'm just trying to put a third eye in there. Because we want to see if I put some glowing eye, that could be cool, right? Or if we open those holes up and we put a candle in there, that could be cool too. There it is. That's weird. It was not there a minute ago. Let's try that. Worst case scenario, we turn them off. So kicking it off to Keyshot. Let's go check out Keyshot. See what's going on there. But yeah, feel free to hashtag me whatever you post. I'd love to see it. See, now we're getting that breakup where I was talking about. Now it doesn't feel like a perfect surface. Let's find a color, a material that it might glow. Stem, the pumpkin, and these are the eyes. I'm gonna try one of these. I'm not sure what it's gonna do. And it's gonna do nothing. Nothing? Really? Not a big deal. Maybe glass works. It's kind of creepy too, right? What do you guys think? Yeah, I think overall for about an hour and a half or so. I think this works. Poly paint it, take it to Substance Painter. Should be good. Kind of digging those eyes actually. But I think it's always important to kind of bring it into here. You kind of just see what's happening with the surface, you know. I forgot that we have these. These are pretty good too. I used to use one of these. This one, where is it? I just had it. This one all the time because it has really nice top lighting. Right there, that's the spot. Yeah, I think it turned out okay. What do you guys think? I think those eyes are. Let's turn off the eyes actually. Let's see what that looks like without the eyes. Nah, I think I like the eyes. I think we're gonna keep the eyes. And just maybe adjust the stuff around them. Well, that's the danger that I forgot that I had a layer. So, and it's crypto. Nice. So one thing I tend to do sometimes is if we do have eyeballs, I'll tend to duplicate them and then do a little bit of flat to give them a little bit of a lid a little bit, but it depends. Sometimes, not all the time. You know, that way you get a little bit more character in them. If you're into that sort of stuff. We'll see if we keep those eyes or not. Still not 100%. Kind of make them a little creepier, right? I feel like I need to make this nose just slightly deeper. But awesome, guys, I think we're about done. Just want to make sure you guys are happy and you guys enjoyed the process. Hopefully you guys learned something. I'll give you guys a link again for you guys if you guys want to download the base pumpkin. Let's do a render in here, see what that looks like. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. I think the cavities are deep enough now. Yeah, we'll probably hollow this out and then print it out. And then let me post that link for you guys again. Let's see. Where is it? Gumroad. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for joining. I think we're about done, so I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully we can start working on some other creatures, I guess non-Halloween related, but cool. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging in there. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'll be posting more. I hardly post in ArtStation, but you know, we'll do some. We'll put some more stuff up there. Awesome. Thanks for joining, guys. Really appreciate it. Yeah, take care, guys. Stay safe. Thanks, Doug. Alright, guys. See you guys next time.